Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Just Prem podcast. In today's episode, I will be giving my commentary, opinion on a recent documentary that came out called The Curious Case of Bam. They call it a documentary, but in my opinion, really, it was a mockumentary, and we'll get more into detail on why I think that. Before we begin, I just want to give some disclaimers. First, this is my opinions and thoughts on this documentary. Nothing I should say should be taken as facts or accusations or anything else like that. I encourage you all to go watch this documentary, verify the information, and make up your own mind. Second, this documentary features BJ Courville. As most of you are already aware, but if you're not, I just want to let you guys know BJ is my fiance. Even though I believe I'm objective, there is still going to be some biases. That's why I again encourage you to go watch this so-called documentary and make up your own mind. So with that being said, let's get into it. This so-called documentary came out on ID Discovery recently. This documentary was titled The Curious Case of Bam. From the title and the promotion of this documentary, you would have thought this documentary would focus on Bam, his recovery, his guardianship, the Free Bam movement, BJ's involvement in the Free Bam movement, Lima's involvement in the Free Bam movement, and everything to do with that. But once you start watching this documentary, you realize that's not what this documentary is about. This documentary has not been received well by the public. Most people are upset that this was marketed as a documentary on Bam, but it really wasn't. It was more a documentary about Lima, BJ, Lima's sisters. People have also criticized this documentary that it tells a one-sided story. This documentary only focuses on negative parts of Bam's recovery. This documentary only makes Bam look bad. They have taken the worst clips of Bam, put him in the documentary, and it seems like it's the mainstream media narrative to always make Bam look bad. This documentary tells Bam's story from the point where his family chose Lima to be his guardian and they put him in a guardianship, and then all of a sudden it cuts to the point where Bam has altercation with his brother and they seem Bam look like a crazy person. This documentary, like most mainstream media, only paints a negative picture of Bam. This documentary focuses on how Bam's family worked with Lima to get him into a guardianship, skips out his whole journey, skips out how he has said that he was forced into the Florida shuffle, how he was given medicine that he didn't want, how that medicine made him feel, and his whole recovery process. It completely skips out on that and then cuts to the part where Bam had an altercation with his brother. This documentary makes Bam look really bad. It only focuses on the negative. This documentary tries to make it look like Bam does need a guardianship all the time. What it does not focus on is Bam's recovery, how Bam's done once he's been out of the guardianship, how Bam's gotten back to his old roots of skateboarding, how Bam's finally enjoying some of his life, how Bam seems a lot better outside this guardianship than he did before. So is this a real documentary if they're going to be covering someone's recovery that they don't cover his recovery process where it was horrible and they don't cover his recovery process where he's doing better? They only cover the part where it makes him look really bad. So with that being said, this wasn't the curious case of Bam. Even Bam's come out and said this should have been called The Curious Case of Lima.
Unbeknownst to us, just like you folk, we were flicking channels only to find on a 24-hour countdown on The Curious Case of what? They should have called The Curious Case of Lima, but nobody would have watched. But I can tell you this, I'm 45 years old. I have not gone into any seizures in my lifetime until I met Lima at the age of 43. I went into 5 seizures, 20 minutes apiece, only to wake up 8 days on life support with a tube down my throat with COVID and pneumonia. I'm just glad that that part of my terrible, terrible life is over and I'm not dead from it.
So now that we've gotten the BAM story out of the way, let's go to the next topic. The host of this documentary. Personally, from the day I found out about this documentary, I thought it was going to be a hit piece. When BJ told me that she was going to be interviewing for this documentary, I told her not to do it. But she wanted to do it. She wanted to make sure that they weren't able to use this against her and say, well, we don't have her side of the story, so we're just going to tell a one-sided story. Even though I advised her not to do this interview, she chose to do it. And if it was up to me, she would have never done it. If you've been following my channel or BJ's channel, you're aware we believe in personal decisions, people being allowed to make their own decisions, not controlling people's speech. So when BJ decided she wanted to go do this documentary, that was her decision and she did it. If it was up to me, she would have never done it. When trailers came out for this documentary, the host was shown to be Beth Caras. People, before the documentary came out, said Beth Caras is a great host, she does a great job. But after watching this documentary, I don't know if I can say that. I'm not sure, this is just my opinion. Either she was just given a payday to read a script and just say stuff out of whack, or she really isn't a good investigator and she just gets things wrong. But these are my opinions. Go watch it yourself and let me know what you think. So, what are some of the things that Beth gets wrong? First, when this documentary starts out, Beth Caras says that this documentary is about individuals' right to make their own decisions or something like that. I don't have it word for word, so this is just from my memory. Once you watch the documentary, I don't know where that got lost. I don't think that was really explored. It was just a phrase that they put in there. Second, Beth tries to make BJ look like she doesn't know what she's talking about by playing a clip that says conservatorships and guardianships are the same thing, and then cutting in and interjecting that conservatorships and guardianships are not the same thing. Something along the lines of conservatorships have financial control, guardianships don't have financial control. But this whole segment is complete BS. It just takes a clip of BJ saying one thing and doesn't provide the full context. I've been watching BJ for the last few years talk about this topic. What she always says is conservatorships and guardianships are the same thing. In some states, the term conservatorship is used. In some states, the term guardianship is used. In some cases, there's a conservatorship of the person, conservatorship of the property. Sometimes there's guardians for younger individuals. Sometimes there's financial control involved. Sometimes there might not be. That it varies state by state. But in general, when BJ talks about guardianships and conservatorships, for her, it's the same thing. It is that this mechanism is used to take away an individual's personal rights, an individual's rights to make their own decisions. And that is her biggest problem with this. This is what my understanding out of it is. I've been following BJ for the last few years cover this, but Beth just takes the statement conservatorships and guardianships are the same thing and then interjects to prove BJ wrong. But now, recently, with the Wendy Williams guardianship coming out and the financial control and everything else, Beth even sounds more clueless. All major people are saying that in Wendy Williams guardianship, people have control over her money, people have control over everything. Also, if Beth had done the research and actually watched BJ's videos, she would see BJ has said many times that she does not know if Lima had control of Bam's money or not. All she's saying is she had control of his rights, and that was wrong. If Beth had actually taken time to watch BJ's videos, she would have seen that that's not what BJ says. BJ says all the time, conservatorships and guardianships are the same thing to her because they take away an individual's rights. There might be different aspects of it in different states, different jurisdictions, and even within that, you might be granted certain rights, certain things. So this, as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, this is going to go downhill. They're just trying to paint BJ in a bad light. Now to the second thing. And this thing made me realize that either Beth is clueless or that she hasn't watched any of BJ's videos. She was just given a script and decided to read whatever script she was given, or I don't even know what to say. Because if you watched any of BJ's videos, she literally says she has questions. She doesn't know why. Her first question is, there was a video on soft white underbelly. It said something like autopsy report, Amanda Rabb, Lima, something like that. I don't have it word for word. And when that video comes on, Lima makes it seem like she's reading from the autopsy report and says Amanda died from seizure disorder. When BJ requested the autopsy report, that said that she died from cardiac arrhythmia. Again, I don't have the papers in front of me. I'm not reading it word for word. I think you should go watch the videos yourself and make your determination. I'm just trying to do this from memory. So BJ's question is, why did Lima say that she's reading from the autopsy report and she wasn't reading from the autopsy report? Lima's come out and said that she was reading from some email. Beth pulls up the autopsy report and says, look, Amanda was taking gabapentin. So it could be that this is a seizure medicine, that maybe Amanda did have a seizure that led to cardiac arrhythmia or something like that. My question to Beth would be, Beth, in your own clip, Lima says Amanda didn't have seizures, so then why was she taking seizure medicine? Again, I do not know. These are all these questions that are going through my head, and clearly Beth didn't process it. I don't even know if Beth saw the final cut before it went out because it just contradicts each other. On one hand, you have Lima saying Amanda never had any seizures, but then Beth is saying it could have been seizures because she was taking seizure medicine. And what my understanding is, that medicine is taken for a lot of things. But it blew my mind why Beth tried to twist everything around to make it seem like maybe Lima was saying the truth, maybe Lima wasn't. What my understanding is BJ saying she said she's reading word for word from the autopsy report, but she wasn't, and now she's saying she was reading from an email. Why? I thought Beth would be able to ask that question to Lima, but she clearly didn't ask that question. She just had her own mind made up and gave her own opinion. Another thing, I expected this documentary to do some research, to do some digging. In my opinion, they didn't do anything. They took words from Lima and just reported them as fact, which sitting here today, I can't tell you if they're fact or they're fiction. I do not know. They took BJ's clips, cut them up to make her seem like she's not credible. They took Bam's clips and only showed negative clips of him to make him look like he's a crazy person. And then they took Mark Leta and Steve-O and made him look like the most upstanding human beings. But if you look at Mark Leta, he has a video on his channel where he has a 13-year-old that allegedly is in the S-working category. That 13-year-old is wearing a top where you can see through that top. In that video, Mark asks that 13-year-old about where that 13-year-old could be found for her services, and in my opinion, it truly seems like it's an advertisement. But that person is shown to be a saint, a credible person. Second, Steve-O. This individual is shown to be a credible figure, but this same figure had a tattoo that is so disgusting, I don't want to even describe it. In my opinion, that tattoo was of PDF acts. Steve-O had that on his body. He made that decision to put it on. Again, people can make wrong decisions, people make bad decisions, and you shouldn't judge them ever for it. But that doesn't mean you present that guy to be the most credible. This same person was talking about getting implants for promotion or for some other reasons. Just for that, this is what we've come to. These are the people that we should be listening to. Again, I can keep on going on all these issues, pulling one by one about stuff Beth got wrong, about stuff, and I could be here for hours. But I want to kind of break this down into a few categories and just tell high points, few things that stood out to me, and then I would recommend everyone to go watch the documentaries, BJ's videos, Lima's videos, Mark's videos, Steve-O's videos. Watch everything yourself and make a decision. Now let's move on to the next topic, that surprise army. Beth presents two individuals that are supposedly part of this That Surprise Army. That Surprise Army is described as BJ's biggest fans in a Discord server. But if Beth had seen any of BJ's videos, she would see. She does not associate with That Surprise Army. She's actually made a lot of videos regarding That Surprise Army and disclaiming that she has nothing to do with them. She's made videos how she has never been in that Discord server. So Beth just takes these two people's word for it and says, oh yes, they're part of That Surprise Army, and look, here's BJ's lunatic fans, crazy fans. So now let's talk about these two fans. The first individual, Casey Fowler, I think was his name. He comes out and says he was a huge fan of BJ and he was in there to help BJ accomplish her goal or something like that. I don't remember the exact words. The thing that stood out to me about this individual was he makes a statement about the Discord. He says That Surprise Army Discord was made to free Bam out of his conservatorship from Lima. What my understanding is of following this through the last few years, That Surprise Army Discord was actually created after Bam had been out of the guardianship. That Discord was created after Bam had already interviewed with BJ. That Discord was made, I think, about a year after Bam had been out of the guardianship. That Discord was made after BJ had told everyone that Bam's out of his guardianship. Bam had told people that he was out of his guardianship. So how could BJ's biggest fan be in a Discord where they're trying to get Bam out of a conservatorship under Lima when BJ's already said that's happened? I don't know what's going through his head. I don't know how he's the biggest fan, how he's not. In my personal opinion, that guy's not credible. One of the biggest things he talks about is a Discord server that BJ was never part of. And the aim, he says, of that Discord server of BJ's biggest fans was to get Bam out of a conservatorship under Lima. How could that be possible when Bam was already out of it? At that point, this person loses credibility. The second place this person lost credibility for me was when he talks about BJ's fans. He says something like, BJ's fans are in a cult. BJ's fans will do whatever she tells them to do right away exactly. Maybe I can even insert some clips here. BJ's been for years saying, please do not contact anyone. Please do not go comment on people. Please do not reach out to anyone. Please do not contact anyone. Do not harass anyone. Do not dox anyone.
To be clear, I redacted her number because I do not want anybody calling anybody. That is not the point of this live. The point of this live is to share public information that I think is safe to share, right? Not anybody's contact information. Before I go any further, disclaimer. Do not send any hateful don't even comment on the girl's video. Okay? If you're going over there because I sent you over there, don't say nothing mean. Just leave the girl alone in the comments, okay? Because what's going to happen is she's going to hold what y'all are saying, even though I'm telling you right now, don't do it. When people go do it, she's going to hold that against me. So I would, if y'all are going over there from this channel, you're kind of like going to be, whether I like it or not, going to be lumped in as my ambassador. So if you're going over there from here, or if you're just stumbling across this video, the point of this is not to leave comments on people's page, okay? Nobody's page needs to be leaving the mean comments and all that, all right? Y'all are grown and you can do what you want, but I'm asking you, please don't. Okay, all right. I have redacted Lima's address, even though this is a publicly available police report. Anyone could get this information. As a gentle reminder, I do not have special access to these documents. Y'all can look these up yourself and you can see them yourself. So for that reason, I have decided not to include the address of the twins here on this video, but just to remind y'all, it is public information. Basically, I really want to just make the point very clear. No one's trying to assassinate anyone's character. No one sent any hate to anyone mentioned in this video. Seriously, don't. There's really no reason to. And if you do, I'm sure they'll blame me for it, like they blame everything else on me. Who's a longtime family friend, started receiving threats over the summer and had to address it publicly. I always tell y'all, nobody send threats. It's not worth it. We have the truth on our side. And to be honest, it doesn't do anything but hurt me if y'all send threats, because y'all see that they blame it all, everything on me. I'm not even going to go into this whole Twitter. I'm going to just say, don't send hate to anybody mentioned in this video, et cetera, et cetera. But nobody said any hate to anyone mentioned in this video. That's all I really had for today. In the meantime, a court judge was assigned to this case, which was Tanya Wilson. Now, these are public records and they are available to the public. I have not had the opportunity to really go through and redact any information that I personally don't feel comfortable sharing. So I'm probably not going to pull up the whole entire document here on the live. Again, I'm not hiding this information from y'all. If you really want to find it, you are able to find it. I don't have proprietary access to this. There's just some stuff in here that I personally just don't know fully if I feel comfortable sharing quite yet. But yeah, anyway. Okay. So she also, and then they're going to harass and send threats. First of all, I tell y'all all the time, don't harass, don't send threats. Second of all, as far as shenanography, I would still say y'all don't go and give any hate. Don't tell her nothing, because if you do, she's going to blame me and she's going to act like it's me that's sending y'all to do it. Whenever all I'm trying to do is give transparency to somebody that's been harassing and quite literally threatening me for months. This person has left hundreds, if not thousands, of comments across the internet on various places lying about me, threatening me. But it's not my intention to make anybody lose everything. As usual, don't send any hate to anybody mentioned in this video and all that. I don't even wish the worst for Lima or any of her people or any of that. The only thing I really want is the truth to come to light. And part of the truth is, why didn't Lima say the real cause of death from Amanda Rabb's autopsy report? I think I've made it very clear and very public that I do not condone that type of behavior. And so recently there's been other issues going on with, I don't know, I think there was a Discord created, and y'all might have noticed I never went into that Discord. There was a That Surprise Witness Reddit community created. I did not create it. It is not mine. I don't like Discord. I want nothing to do with drama. I want nothing to do with disagreements, and I want nothing to do with discord, pun intended. The name of the app is Discord. Do y'all know what the definition of discord is? Discord. Noun. Disagreement between people. I don't want nothing to do with no discord. Nobody send any drone. Nobody send any comment. Nobody send any hate. Please, for the love of God. Okay? Like, please, seriously, don't. Thank you.
She said that so many times, but the so-called That Surprise fan army or whatever they were decided to not follow her advice there, but they decided to make up things in their own mind and decided to go out and do things. If BJ's fans are in a cult, then how could it be that BJ tells people regularly, do not contact anyone, do not reach out to anyone, do not go to anywhere? If BJ's fans are such a cult as this individual says, then why would BJ's fans in this cult do exactly what BJ tells them not to do? BJ tells them not to contact anyone. BJ tells people not to even go comment anywhere. So how could it be? Individuals make their own decisions. And personally, this is my personal opinion, I believe a lot of these people came to create chaos. Now, let's go to the second individual. The second individual is Jamie Gilmore. Jamie Gilmore, in this documentary, admits that she has doxed Lima. It blows my mind how this person who openly says they doxed Lima is on the phone with Lima.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
You were so sweet for that last message.
Aw.
So much. That means so much to me. You have no idea.
It blows my mind how this person who, again, on the video says she doxed Lima is the person who Lima put in touch with the documentary to interview.
I am in the documentary because they asked me to, well, actually Lima introduced me to, they wanted to do a series about BJ.
It blows my mind that the documentary didn't ask Lima, and Lima hasn't filed a restraining order against the person who's doxing her. She's using her to file a restraining order against someone else. It seems like she's friends with her, the person who's doxing her, and trying to use her to file a case against someone else. It literally blows my mind. If it was me and someone was doxing me, my first thing would be to go get a restraining order against that person, not against a person that they say told them to do it when there's video evidence of that person saying do not contact anyone. And this person also has come out and said that the declaration they filed was false. Truly, I don't know what is going on with that person, and I wish him the best. Again, there's so much to go through this, and I can pick apart one thing after another because I've been following this as a viewer, as a lot of people watching BJ's videos. And there were so many contradictions that I could go on forever. But I don't want to be here all night, so I'm going to move on to the next topic. Now the next topic, Lima and her sisters. Again, I don't know if Beth has done any research, or she was just given a script, or she just took whatever other people said and just went along with it. In my personal opinion of watching BJ's videos, I have never seen her say Lima is trafficking her sisters or anything else like that. I've heard her say that her sisters have alleged their mother of this. I've heard her say, hey, Lima has had these hashtags. But BJ's never made that accusation. But Beth seems to believe that BJ did make these accusations. I don't know where she gets it from, where she gets all this information from, but to me, it just seems wrong. Next, they talk about this body cam footage. This body cam footage from Oklahoma. They talk about how this was invasion of privacy. They talk about how messed up it is that BJ put the trauma of this victim online for people to see. But what blows my mind is they are doing the same thing in this documentary. They're putting up this same footage up again, just cut up. Actually, from what I remember, BJ had blurred out most of it out of respect for Dahlia. They don't even seem to be doing that. Then they're literally following these girls around while they're having mental episodes with cameras. These people are filming all this stuff and putting it out for a huge audience to see. BJ requests public footage and puts it online, but that is an issue. And why did she put it online? I think she said something like, there's accusations being made here, they're not being looked into, and they should be looked into. I don't know if they're true, if they're false, but there's accusations, and those accusations should be looked into, and it should not be discounted because someone's having a medical episode or whatever it is. So this documentary can take that footage and play it. They can take other footage, which isn't even public footage, and play that, but they're not exploiting the twins. They're not hurting the twins. But BJ, who does it on a smaller platform, is. This just seems very hypocritical to me. Lima herself has advertised her sister's medical history out there. Herself has talked about her sisters ad nauseum, has used her sisters to pitch her products.
Next up is Lima.
Growing up, my father was very abusive to my sisters and I. I remembered everything, and that's what made me get into mental health. But my sisters, who were identical twins, very successful actresses and YouTube stars, had no memory of the trauma. They had what's called complex PTSD. 9 years ago, they began experiencing symptoms of severe mental illness. They went to see a mental health professional, and that was the beginning of the end for them. The psychiatrist had no tools to treat them. He simply asked them, how are you feeling? And based on my sisters' attempts to describe their psychiatric conditions, like a blind person trying to describe the color blue, a feeling that they've never felt before, he misdiagnosed them and prescribed them a cocktail of medications, which led to an addiction to their psychiatric meds. Aura is a comprehensive system that allows clinicians to see how a patient is feeling and track recovery progress. Our proprietary technology uses machine learning to track progression, regression, risk levels of patients, and improve case management and treatment outcomes with data for relapse prevention. High-profile celebrities and public figures, and I've been tremendously successful. Our team has extensive experience in the healthcare industries. We've had market exposure and used our technology in hospitals and clinics. Our technology is ready for market. We're raising $1.1 million. We've already raised most of our seed round, but we have 1.1 left to raise to deliver our products to clients. And
Lima is the one who's put out all her sisters' data out there. If Lima didn't put it out, no one would even know about it. But when BJ does it and calls out a few things she says, now it's traumatizing her sisters. Did Beth look into it that before BJ ever started covering this, Lima's sisters were running away? Because the documentary seems like it that BJ is the reason why Lima's sisters were running away. But before BJ ever started covering this, Lima's sisters were running away. These are just few of the things that stood out to me while watching this mockumentary. It seems like any issues in Lima and her sisters' lives is BJ's problem. Any issues in Bam's life is BJ's problem. Lima is a person who's just trying to help people with her startup. But this mockumentary never looked into Lima's past, never got evidence of her credentials, never tells us, again, maybe they got evidence of her credentials, but they never show us her credentials, never tell us what her credentials are. They just say she's some type of expert or care provider, but they never they don't show us anything. So what did this documentary research? I don't think they watched BJ's videos. I don't think they watched Amanda Rad videos. I don't think they went and got the history of Lima's sisters to know that all this stuff was going on before BJ ever came into the picture. They didn't show any of Lima's credentials or how she became this healthcare provider, how she's qualified to take over people's lives to do everything. They only focused on negative footage of Bam, didn't share any positive footage of Bam. So what was this looking into? What was this documentary doing? Personally for me, either it was a hit piece or it was a mockumentary. Now if they were making a mockumentary, at least you would have thought that they would have made it interesting. You would have thought that they made it flow so people could actually understand what's going on. They couldn't even do that. So I don't know what was the point of this, but to me, it was a complete waste of time. Now my opinions on a couple of the people. I truly wish Lima's sisters get the help that they need. They made some serious allegations. I don't know if they're true or not true, but someone should look into them. Second, my hope is that the mainstream media stops portraying Bam always in a bad light. I'm not saying Bam doesn't have issues or hasn't had issues or hasn't done things wrong, but he does deserve to have the positive things covered if you're going to cover the negative things. You can cover every time he messes up, but then also cover when he doesn't mess up, when he's excelling, when he's out skateboarding, when he's out doing podcasts, when he's out telling his story, when he's out exposing corruption. You can also cover that. But no, you will not cover that. Because in my opinion, the mainstream media, their objective is to make Bam look like crazy. And that is pretty pathetic. I've spent some time with Bam. He is such a smart, kind soul. And I think he's a great individual. I think he's creative. I think he's artistic. And I also think he has some of his own issues that he has to deal with. That doesn't mean that you villainize the guy all the time. He is also a human. My hope for Bam is that he's happy, healthy, and doing what he wants to do. He makes his own decisions. And I truly hope that he makes a bunch of art out there. He skateboards, he makes videos, he does what he's great at. So I'll end the video with this. I encourage everyone to go out and watch this mockumentary. Do your own research. Watch BJ's videos. Watch Lima's videos. Watch Mark's videos. Watch Steve-O's videos. And then make up your own mind. There is a reason why mainstream media is losing its appeal. And one of the reasons is mockumentaries like this. I hope the Snakes do a better job in their next documentary, mockumentary, or whatever they're making.